Let's start it with our first news. Khabib Nurmagomedov has once again taken a subtle jab at his longtime rival, Conor McGregor, this time following news of McGregor's latest setback. The Irish superstar has reportedly agreed to an 18-month suspension for violating the UFC's anti-doping policy, marking another turbulent chapter in his storied career. According to reports, McGregor failed to provide his whereabouts for mandatory drug testing on 3 separate occasions in 2024, specifically on June 13, September 19, and September 20. Under the UFC's anti-doping rules, missing 3 whereabouts submissions within a 12-month period constitutes a violation equivalent to a positive test. As a result, McGregor has been handed an 18-month ban, sidelining him until March 20, 2026. While this means he will remain ineligible to compete for over a year, McGregor will still technically be eligible to make a comeback in time for the rumored UFC White House card, a major event that has been generating headlines across the MMA world. However, questions about his discipline, focus, and long-term motivation have once again resurfaced, particularly after multiple controversies and postponed comebacks in recent years. Khabib Nurmagomedov, McGregor's legendary rival and the man who defeated him at UFC 229, couldn't resist reacting to the situation. The former undefeated lightweight champion reposted the news of McGregor's suspension on his Instagram story, but with a characteristic touch of mockery. Khabib cropped out McGregor's face from the original post, an understated yet unmistakable sign of ridicule that quickly caught the attention of fans across social media. The timing of Khabib's post was particularly notable. October 6 marked the 7-year anniversary of their infamous UFC 229 clash, a night that remains one of the most chaotic and unforgettable moments in MMA history. The post-fight brawl, which saw members of both camps jump into the octagon, cemented their rivalry as one of the fiercest in combat sports. Even in retirement, Khabib continues to maintain his position as a respected voice in the MMA world, often speaking out about discipline, legacy, and professionalism. His subtle mockery of McGregor serves as a reminder of the contrasting paths their careers have taken. While Khabib walked away from the sport with an unblemished record and immense respect, McGregor's journey continues to be marred by controversies, suspensions, and missed opportunities. Despite the latest setback, McGregor's potential return in 2026 will undoubtedly draw massive attention. Yet, as Khabib's reaction shows, the sport and its fans haven't forgotten how different their legacies truly are. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Charles Oliveira has once again made headlines, this time by expressing his desire to face Conor McGregor at one of the most iconic venues in the world, the White House. Speaking to the media earlier today, the former UFC lightweight champion shared his ambitious vision for what he believes could be one of the biggest and most historic fights in mixed martial arts history. When we talk about legacy, I think this would be something huge, Oliveira said confidently. Why not have a big fight there? So, if the UFC needs me, I'm ready. His statement instantly sparked excitement across the MMA community, as the idea of a UFC fight taking place at such a globally symbolic location is both unprecedented and bold. Oliveira, known for his relentless fighting style and incredible submission record, seems eager to take part in something that transcends the octagon. His call out to Conor McGregor isn't just about the money, it's about making history. Charles versus Conor at the White House isn't merely a fight, it's a spectacle that could draw worldwide attention. Both fighters are former champions, both have enormous fan bases, and both are known for their electrifying personalities. McGregor, despite currently serving an 18-month suspension due to anti-doping violations, remains the most talked about figure in combat sports. A potential matchup with Oliveira would mark his long-awaited return and could easily become one of the most watched events in UFC history. For Oliveira, it would be a chance to solidify his place among the all-time greats and add another remarkable chapter to his already impressive career. The idea of hosting a UFC event at the White House also aligns with recent rumors about the UFC potentially organizing a White House card, an event that would bring together fighters, fans, and political figures in a once-in-a-lifetime setting. Dana White, the UFC president, has always pushed boundaries to elevate the sport, and Oliveira's statement could very well ignite discussions within the organization. If this fight were to happen, it would be more than just a battle between 2 elite fighters, it would be a moment of cultural significance. Charles Oliveira's challenge is a bold one, combining sport, spectacle, and legacy in a way that only the UFC can deliver. And if the stars align, Oliveira versus McGregor at the White House could become the most talked about event in MMA history. Move on to another news. Nate Diaz recently reflected on his career and revealed that, despite what many fans believe, he doesn't consider his fights with Conor McGregor to be the biggest moments of his career. Instead, he highlighted his 2011 bout against Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone as a defining fight that meant more to him personally and professionally. When asked what his best fight was, Diaz explained that people usually expect him to immediately mention Conor McGregor. However, he believes that his career can't be summed up by one rivalry, no matter how massive it was. People always expect me to say Conor McGregor, Diaz said. And yeah, that was a huge fight, no doubt about it. But there are different fights that stand out in my timeline for different reasons. My career isn't just about one opponent, it's about the moments that shaped me along the way. Diaz went on to explain why his victory over Cowboy Cerrone was so significant. Back in 2011, Cerrone was seen as a dangerous new contender who had come over from the WEC carrying a lot of hype. Diaz, however, was determined to make a statement. When I fought Cowboy, it felt like I was fighting someone everyone was talking about, Diaz recalled. He was the new guy, coming in with momentum, and I wanted to remind people that I'd been here, that I was already established in this game. Beating him felt like a real turning point, like I was solidifying my spot among the best. For Diaz, that win wasn't just another victory, it represented a crucial moment in his evolution as a fighter. It was about respect, proving his skill, and showing that he could dominate against anyone, whether they were veterans or rising stars. While his clashes with McGregor became global spectacles that transcended the sport, breaking pay-per-view records and drawing mainstream attention, Diaz sees them as part of a larger journey, not the sole highlight. Conor was a huge moment in my career, sure, Diaz said, but that fight with Cowboy was different. It was about earning my place, about showing people who I really was as a fighter. Every fight is part of a bigger story, and that one, for me, was one of the biggest pieces of it. In essence, Nate Diaz's comments reflect his deep respect for his own timeline, a career built on grit, resilience, and moments that meant more than just fame or headlines. Move on to another news. Sean Strickland recently shared his thoughts on a potential dream matchup between Alex Pereira and Jon Jones, and his perspective was both insightful and bold. Speaking in an interview with MMA Junkie, Strickland didn't shy away from praising both fighters but made it clear that, in his eyes, Alex Pereira possesses something truly special, something that could make him a legitimate threat to Jon Jones' dominance. Strickland began by acknowledging Jones' unmatched skill set, especially his wrestling and athleticism. If there's anyone who can beat Jon Jones, it's Alex, Strickland said confidently. But Jon Jones, that guy can wrestle. That level of black belt athleticism, he's on another level. The way he controls distance, timing, and transitions is what makes him one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the octagon. Despite recognizing Jones' technical mastery, Strickland highlighted the unique danger that Alex Pereira brings to any fight. According to him, Pereira's physical strength, precision striking, and defensive awareness make him a nightmare for anyone attempting to take him down. The thing about Alex is that he's really hard to take down. If you're going to have any success with him, you better make sure he's tired, because naturally, he has a very defensive stance, Strickland explained. And let's be honest, the guy has that death punch. When he lands, it's over. He has that rare kind of power that you can't teach. Strickland went on to compare Pereira's raw knockout ability to legends of the sport. Alex just has the thing that comes once in a lifetime, he said. Like Chuck Liddell had it. Some fighters are skilled, but others have that it factor, that natural gift, and that's Alex. The UFC middleweight also spoke about his own experience training with Pereira, describing him as one of the most disciplined and coachable athletes he's ever worked with. I love training with Alex, Strickland admitted. He's the kind of guy who, if you give him even a little bit of advice, he absorbs it immediately and drills it until he perfects it. Strickland also gave credit to Magomed Ankalaev, another elite fighter he has trained with, calling him one of the most technically complete mixed martial artists in the game. If Ankalaev wrote a book on MMA, it would be a big one, he said. He's that good. But Alex has something extra, something special that you can't teach. That secret sauce. In the end, Strickland summed up his opinion clearly. While Jon Jones remains a legend, Alex Pereira's blend of power, composure, and instinct might just make him the one man capable of pulling off the unthinkable. Move on to another news. Former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw recently shared his thoughts on a potential rematch between Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov, explaining why he believes the matchup deserves to happen again. According to Dillashaw, their first fight earlier this year, which Merab won by unanimous decision, left several questions unanswered, particularly about Merab's ground game and how he would perform if taken down himself. Dillashaw began by breaking down the stylistic matchup between the two elite grapplers. When you fight someone like Merab, you can't just defend takedowns, you have to shoot on him as well, TJ explained. That's a mistake a lot of fighters make against him. They're always on the defensive, never taking the initiative. Umar was one of the few guys who actually shot on him, which made their fight so competitive. That's exactly why I want to see that rematch. He continued, emphasizing that he's curious about how Merab would handle being taken down and controlled. Someone needs to take Merab down and hold him there. That's what I want to see. We've seen how dominant he is from the top position, but no one really knows how good his bottom game is. How does he react when he's on his back? How does he defend submissions? Those are the questions Umar could answer in a rematch. Dillashaw also praised Dvalishvili's relentless fighting style, which stands out even among wrestling-heavy competitors. Usually when you watch a strong grappler, fans complain that it's boring, he said. But not with Merab. He makes wrestling exciting. Even though his approach revolves around constant takedowns and pressure, he brings a kind of chaos and energy that keeps you glued to the screen. He's not just stalling or holding position, he's fighting hard every second of the round. The former former champion concluded by highlighting Merab's work ethic and cardio, calling him one of the most active fighters in the division. "He never stops," Dillashaw added. "He pushes the pace from the opening bell until the final second. It's impressive to watch. That's why a rematch with Umar, who's one of the most technically sound grapplers in the division, would be a fascinating chess match for MMA fans."